How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. I want to talk to you today about BNGO and an interesting exchange that happened between Ark Invest and the general public on Twitter, and they were talking about BNGO. I want to talk about that. I want to hit on what Ark Invest and what other people know about BNGO that we don't as retail investors, and then how we can try to gauge and how we can try to take advantage of the fact that we're retail investors and how we can protect ourselves from things we don't know in BNGO and other companies too. I also have another penny stock that I'm considering talking about. It's moving up today. I'll talk more on that later, but I want to know whether you guys want to hear about it. It's a risky one, just like all these penny stocks are, but let me know if you guys want that. Also, I recorded this whole thing, and the great thing about my setup is everything is done on my phone. The bad thing is, like my recording is, the bad thing is, if you've ever noticed, there's the slow-mo or slow mode, something like that, right next to the normal video. So if your thumb hits it when you're trying to put your phone in the little holder, then it records the whole thing in slow-mo. So the rest of this does not have a face cam. So please don't click off because it's boring, because I need the watch time. I want you guys to watch. I think there's a lot of good information in this. It's just that I didn't want to record the whole thing because I want to get it to you sooner rather than later. And I think the information is more important than this ugly mug. So definitely stick through to the end. I think there's a lot of good information in here. So if you guys like this, please leave a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to hit subscribe and you want to see more, that would be a big thing for me. I really appreciate that. We are up to 72,000 subscribers. I can't believe it, but if you want to join, you can definitely do that. We do multiple videos a day trying to give you the best news and the fastest news out there. So definitely do that if you want. Also, if you want to join something else that could get you the news even faster, there's a link down below to Patreon. There we have over 2,000 members that are all looking for the next top stocks, the next hottest stocks. And you can definitely check that out if you want to know what I'm buying and selling in real time. I tell you exactly how much and why and stuff like that. And you can join, like I said, 2,000 other people. Now, if you guys want some free stocks, last thing, you can check out the link down below to WeBull. I really appreciate that too. Definitely check that out if you're interested. So BNGO is down a decent amount, and we've seen them go up and go up and go up. We actually bought in at $1.25, and that was last, I want to say December 29, right around here. And since then, it went up 480%. Now it's down a decent amount. We're still up 300%. And there's an interesting back and forth. So if you don't know, Ark Invest has a very large position in a company that's similar to the eye, or similar just looking at it, as Bionano. So the company that I'm talking about is PACB. And this is a company that has had similar price action to Bionano, except for instead of 58 cents or a dollar or whatever Bionano started at, it started at $4 or $5, and it's moved up a decent amount too. So this one has continued to explode throughout the year. They're a $5 billion market cap as opposed to Bionano, which is much smaller. But they are owned a lot by Ark Invest. Like I said, I think Ark Invest has around $700 million worth, or maybe even a little bit more at this point, of PACB. Now, one thing that Ark Invest can do that we can't do as retail investors is, well, maybe depending on your background, is understand the nuance of the biopharma community or the biopharma stocks. I've said this since the beginning. It's really hard, even as someone that's studied medicine in college, to understand what the differences are between these companies. Now, we're used to looking at numbers, looking at trends, but it's difficult for us to understand maybe the difference between some of the jargon that we see in studies. So Simon Barnett, one of the researchers and one of the people that really focuses on genomics and analyzes it, he is at Ark Invest, and he tried to explain the difference between BNGO and PACB and kind of what they do. So I'll hit on some of the main points here, but I want to hit on something that kind of went back and forth between him and another YouTuber. So basically what he's saying here is, and believe me, he had like a whole research section. He had so many tweets that were like really beefy. If you want to check them out, you can. But they're saying basically that this Sapphire product, BNGO's product, is for large structural variant sensitivity. So it's different than what PACB does. As I understand, most of structural variants are not large structural variants. You can see here, larger SVs account for a smaller amount of the total variance. So BNGO is able to pick up larger structural variance much easier, but most of what people look at is just structural variance, and many of these are smaller structural variance, and that's what PACB does better. And he kind of wraps it up here where he says, this does not mean that optical mapping isn't important, needed, or exciting. I think it's all three, but to say that LRS detects only 70% of structural variance as opposed to optical mapping is incorrect. To say that LRS detects just 72% of large structural variance is more accurate, but omits where LRS technology is going. So you can definitely check this out if you want. So before this all happened, Simon Barnett had said they want to talk with the CEO of BNGO, which is interesting. I think a lot of us thought that maybe they would invest if they're talking with them. They already hold this company that's somewhat similar, might be synergetic in that they kind of do different things. Now, another YouTuber actually commented on this tweet here, and you can go check him out. His name's Stockton. He says, I've always maintained the view that OM enhances LRS technologies, and using both in tandem results in higher quality genome assemblies. So he actually sounds like he knows this pretty well. So I would take a look at him after the video's done, because he seems to really understand this, like he might have a background in it. And then Simon says, yes, that's my interpretation too. I think it's unlikely to occur a ton in the wild, e.g. I'm doubtful it'll happen for population genomics, but it should fuel tons of awesome de novo discovery reference genome. So I think this is something that's important to keep in mind. With any of these stocks, with any of these biopharma stocks, my thinking is I really have to be pulled to want to invest in them. With this one, there were so many catalysts that I really want to buy it. Another one that I can think of is Check Stock. This one went up a lot too. We bought in at, I think, $1.30 or something like that, $1.20. I don't even remember. I think we're up about 40%. But this one had some catalysts too. There's also JagX that has gone up a lot. They had a lot of catalysts. The thing is, we can invest in these, and of course this isn't financial advice, but we can invest in these. And my thinking is, if I'm going to do this, I have to be willing to risk the entire thing, because I don't fully understand it. There are companies out there that can hire people to understand it and to really dive into what it actually means. But I'm not going to fully understand it because that is not my area of expertise. And honestly, people that work at Ark Invest are much smarter than the general public of investors. So they're going to understand things that we cannot wrap our heads around. So I would keep this in mind. A couple things that we can do to kind of limit the downside is we can put just a small amount of money in there that we can lose. We can also set limits for when we would sell, either on the way up, or if it goes up and starts coming back down, we can set limits there. Like, for example, I think BNGO will still do well. I think there's still some good sentiment to it, but I might set a limit. So if it falls down to 100% over what I put in, which would be about $2.50, if that happens, I might sell off at that point, because the market would have to change in sentiment so much. And there are a couple other reasons why the stock price has to stay high: for them to raise cash, or for them to stay on the NASDAQ, it has to stay over $1. So if it keeps falling, then there are going to be some negative catalysts there too. So I think those are a couple ways to protect the downside risk. Now, there is a stock that I'm looking at. I'm considering doing a video on it. It's another penny stock. It's moving up today. Let me know if you guys want me to do that down in the comment section. It's risky. So obviously all these penny stocks are risky, but this one seems to be moving without a ton of news, at least as of yesterday. It had some news before, so maybe people are just getting a hold of it. But let me know if you want that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys want, you can check out those links down below to WeBull and to BlockFi too if you want to check that out. There's a link down there if you want some really high interest on your cryptocurrencies and stablecoins. I actually just talked about that a little bit more last night, and I actually sent a wire to them. So definitely check that out. Check out Patreon if you want to know exactly what I'm buying and selling. And, after you hit the next video and start watching the next video, I would definitely check that one out. It's on the stock that I'm really bullish on. I'll put it right over here. After that, go check out Stockton too. Thank you guys. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.